Hey, g'day everybody, it's Matt here from Matt Carves. So we are looking at Dremel control today, and this video is aimed at beginners. I'm going to give you 4 tips. They're good ones, and let's get straight into it. Tip number 1 is this: make multiple passes. And what do I mean by this? So say you're carving this eye here. I'll put a little close-up of it, but you're carving this eye here, and what you want to do is on your first pass around, you kind of want to sort of like assess the wood and how it kind of feels underneath the burr as you're going through. You're only going to make a real light indentation of that circle, and what you're trying to gather is how hard and how soft that wood is, how it's reacting to your burr, if there's any grain in it and it's going up and then down, and then sort of like just be aware of that. So on the next passes, as you go around and around, you might have to put more pressure on the grain, which is harder, that's going through the wood, or you just keep things really even and you go around. Okay, so tip number 2 is stabilize yourself. And this is kind of easier said than done. You've got 2 hands. You've got one hand on the Dremel, but you kind of got that hand kind of free down the bottom, so you can have that pressed up against something with the Dremel in that hand still. And you've also got your other hand that you can stabilize the carving with. Now I'm just going to show you on different projects, you have to kind of like approach differently. So like if you've got a wood spirit or a lady wood spirit, you can sort of stabilize that differently than doing letters or something on a bigger plane.
And let's say you want to stabilize yourself when you're carving some letters on a big plane like this. It's a little bit difficult here because my left hand is a little bit off the table, but you can sort of see I'm sort of like holding the Dremel sort of like with both hands, and sort of the left hand is sort of almost controlling the depth of the Dremel, while the right hand is sort of like controlling where it's going. So sort of like offering sort of like a resistance of sort of like pushing and pulling and keeping a little bit of tension there. And you can also see with this, I'm going over this lightly like I did in that first tip, and then I go just sort of like deeper around the same channel. It sort of makes it a little bit more easy doing it that way. And so when you don't have a flat board to sort of put both hands on, you can put one hand underneath the carving and the other hand sort of like is stabilized. The bottom of the hand is on the carving itself. Yeah, just sort of like the palm there, and you can carve the iron like that.
Okay, so the third tip is go slow. Now I don't mean just sort of like going really slow across the carving and all that kind of stuff. I mean sort of like really thinking about what you're doing as well. I sort of like, if I'm carving something new, I won't be playing music. I'll be referencing materials such as photographs of those things that I want to carve, all those kind of things. It just doesn't come from up here. I've got to have references to assess what I'm doing and just seeing where I'm going wrong as well. So you're continually looking at your carving, you're continually looking at the reference material, whether you're carving a chihuahua, a female, a male, great to have reference photos. And yeah, just remember, go slow and actually enjoy the process instead of just rushing things. And the fourth and final tip is burr choice. Now, burr choice is an interesting thing because I think a lot of people think of sort of like your burrs as in how much material they can remove, and that's a good thing if they can remove a lot. But what I want you to think is blocking out is good with those kind of burrs, the kind of extreme Kutzells and all of that kind of stuff. But when you start getting into the details, you want burrs that don't remove a lot of material, but leave sharp lines or are just really, really easy to control. I really love the Kutzall fine taper burr. That's one of my favorite burrs. And it's really good for sort of like around faces and eyes and everything like that. It's just a brilliant burr. It's all about control when you're putting in details.
And this burr is the Dremel wheel point burr. This one is a really good burr for details as well. You can see it's just sort of like a sphere at the end, very tiny. It's less than 2 millimeters across. And the good thing about it is it's a sphere all the way around, which is obviously what a sphere is. But when you change the angles, you sort of see I'm going around like that. It's carving on different sides of the burr, but they're all going to be the same. Whereas if you was using an inverted cone burr, you would have to sort of move the actual carving around with the burr. And I've been carving a lot of eyes in this video, and you want to learn more about carving eyes, check this video out right here.